Yay. Okay, welcome everybody to our Monday night team call. It's not Tuesday yet. It's been a long day. I don't know about anybody else. Here we go. So we're going to go in tonight to some reporting stuff, which is pretty fun. And I always like to do this because, well, first of all, they moved everything around in the virtual office, so it's really nice to get a refresher. And the other reason is because, you know, the more in control you are of your data, the more successful you're going to be. It's just a lot easier to know. Hold on, let me let my dog out. Where you stand than guessing. And I hate nothing more than, you know, when I talk to people, and I always feel bad when they say, I just didn't know. I don't know where I am this month. I have no idea what's going on. All that kind of stuff. You know, like, you should be in charge. It's your business. You should always be aware of what's happening, whether customers are canceling, or because they do that. They'll drop off and not tell you. And then all of a sudden you're like, what happened to my paycheck? And then it just kind of changes. So it's really important to just be in charge of these things. And I think it also helps drive activity when you're somewhat aware of what's happening. So some of the things that we're talking about are going to be really geared towards VFs and above. And that's important because everybody that's on this call is either a VF or above or working towards VF. So you just want to know that these things are going to come into play at some point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my camera around and show you. If I turn it sideways. All right, can you, yeah, okay, good. All right, so I'm just gonna log into my virtual office right here. So everybody's starting from the same place. It's gonna think for a second. Okay, and here we have our dashboard. So inside the dashboard, there's a bunch of different places that we can go. The first thing that I wanna draw your attention to is over here in this upper corner, okay? So there's numbers, PVC, PB, and POB, okay? So I have right now 325 points in my PVC column, as well as my POB my PB column. Those two right there are important because this PB number is the one that I always monitor towards the end of the month. So you want to get this number so that it averages out at close of business somewhere between. Really, the ideal situation would be is if you're hitting 1,500 or higher per month. That means you have a really solid rockin' business. You've got probably 25 to 40 customers. You know, you never fall out of qualification, and things look good. It's when this number teeters on 1,000, if you're a VF or above, that you really want to work hard to get it over so that you get a cushion and you build in the residual piece of your paycheck. And that goes back to performance bonus. And I'm not going to speak too much of it tonight because I really want you guys to watch the video that I just posted on our Facebook page, because it'll explain in detail from Brian Rose, another NMD. I think he did a great job why it's so important to have a qualified business. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there, and some people are going to ask questions, but I want you to have questions because you'll go to that video and you'll get the answers. It's awesome. Okay, so the POB number under here shows up in your column when you're a sales coordinator or above. Okay, if you don't have a POB, that's why. Okay, so I just want you to know that you can always log into your virtual office, and right on your dashboard, you'll know exactly where you stand for the month. All right, and again, we're shooting to build. If you're not at 1,000 here, don't worry about it. We're going to build you to there, but I just want you to know that that's the goal. Okay, 1,000 or above. Okay, so we have some business alerts, customer alerts, all that kind of stuff. Tonight, what we're going to be talking about is going to. I just wanted to go here because, of course, it's not going to be here. Okay, dashboard. Usually my quick links, it would tell me. And what I'm looking for is my former reports under my personal code. Thank you, Danielle. Somebody looked up her PVC report recently, more recently than me. But if you go to my team data here, there we go. There they are. You'll see over here, former reports under the first section, okay? Former reports, I'm not sure why they call it that, I'll be really honest. I think it's because it's what's logged the day before, meaning it's former, okay? But if you click on that section right here, former reports, this is going to take you to an area which will give you lots of different options, okay? PB qualifiers report, downline growth and current PV report. This is what I'm looking for right here, okay, number 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, It gives you an option. So like when you start growing really big and you have all the different countries and stuff, maybe, you know, you just want to focus on one area, like your Australian business, you can click on that and have your reporting just come from the place that you're looking, which is really cool. My home country gives you different options, but for right now, we're just going to pick all of it. And then down below, it's going to ask you what kind of format you want it in. So it automatically defaults to the PDF, which is the best way to do it. And you're going to click on that. Okay. And then towards the bottom, you're just going to scroll down and you're going to press submit. And what's going to happen here is that it gives you an opportunity to send it somewhere. Okay. So let's just say you already have a copy of your PVC report and you want to do some coaching with your upline. You can put their email address in here and send it to them, or you can, you know, send it to yourself and forward it on, no big deal. So once you click this button, it's going to send you a email, and that email is going to have your PVC report on it. So that's how you get to your PVC report. So I'm not going to go through the whole, hold on a second. The PVC report training is about an hour and a half to go through it completely. I'm not going to go through all that tonight. I wanted you guys to know where to go to get that, because the most important piece that you can have is that in hand towards the end of the month and at the end of the month. And see, now I just had an email pop up on my thing that just says reports@juiceplus.com, and it just sent it to me. So when you get that, you can, like I said, you send a copy to your upline and you can go through it together, and it's going to show you a bunch of stuff. Most importantly, it's going to break down your personal performance numbers, and then it's also going to take you through your team's performance numbers. And that's really great because you can see where people are trending, how things are going, and it really gives you like a bird's eye view to see what's happening in your whole organization. One thing that we look for as leaders is that when people build their business into a qualified business, we want to make sure that there's upward growth and mobility there, that they're continuing to expand, to add customers, to continue on. And when things start to flatline and then those numbers start to go down, there's a really cool thing that the company offers, which is called a bank. So when you get to be a VF, you start accumulating that PB number we talked about in the first section on your dashboard. And that number shoots for over 1,000. When you get over 1,000, the company takes that excess. So say the first month you have 1,123 points in there. They're going to take 123 points and put it into your bank. And that's going to start to accrue. And you can hold up to a full 1,000 points in your bank that will help ensure that you stay qualified. Now, I'm going to give you a story to illustrate why this is so important. And then again, I'm going to point you back to that video that I posted because the video is so good at explaining this. But I have a friend whose mother died and a couple years back, and she was an NMD above her. They worked the business together. She was totally heartbroken. It was a really hard time for her, and her business slowly dribbled and fell out of qualification. She was a national marketing director. So when you get to the upper levels of leadership in the company, the biggest portion of your paycheck comes from that PB number. It's a 5% override on the whole performance of the team. And so without being in qualification yourself, you would lose out on that number. So let's just say that number was something like, I don't know, $4,000 a month, right? She was in danger of losing that $4,000 check each month, and her bank saved her for a while, okay? So the bank carried her, and those points started to go down a little bit, slowly dwindled down. And this is what happens when you don't work your business and you don't take care of your customers. It starts to go away, right? It's just the nature of what we do. For her, the company went in and manually qualified her every single month until she was ready to come back to work. Think about that. Somebody went into the computer system because they knew what had happened, and they manually qualified her every single month. So those $4,000 showed up every month for her in addition to the rest of her paycheck. But just think about the impact of the company and the company with the heart. I just want you to know the people you're working for. They always have your back above me. I mean, we of course do. We work in the field with you, but the people at corporate care so much about what's going on. So that's why this piece is so important. It's because it's a residual income payout for all that you've poured into your team over time. And we want to make sure that we get ourselves qualified and fill our bank and keep it full to carry that out. So that as we continue on, that we still maximize the comp plan. Okay. All right. Are there any questions about anything that I shared before I turn it over to Danielle? Because she's going to go through a different segment of training. It's a different report altogether. Or do you have any specific questions about the PVC report that you can ask me now that we can either answer tonight or put up answers later? I just want to get to everybody, make sure. And Rachel's like, I have no idea what we're talking about. It's okay. It's kind of a funny first call to jump on. I apologize. You're so cute. All right. Okay, we're good. All right. So then with that, I'm going to send it over to Danielle. She's going to wrap up this call tonight and fill in the end part with something that's so near and dear to our heart these days, customer care and customer reporting, because it is so critically important to the health of your business.
It is. Okay. Customer care is very important. And so what I'm going to go over is running a report for our customer genealogy report, which if you've been in the business for a while, you know that the customer or the company used to always email these reports to us, and they've stopped doing that. It's now our responsibility to run this report ourselves so that we can just make sure we're on top of the status of our customers' orders. So first and foremost, I'm going to show you, we're going to do this again, where to find this report. So it's the same place that Melissa just went, and hopefully I don't mess up the recording by doing this.
And just for anybody that's been around for a while, if you've looked for things and they've moved around, you're not losing your mind. They've moved things around. So
you're not losing your mind.
No.
Okay. Let me see if I do this correctly. Okay. Okay. So you're in your virtual office, just like Melissa showed you. Again, you're going to My Team Data. Under My Team Data, you're going to Former Reports right here. And I have to log in again. Sorry, I wasn't logged in. Okay. So to find your preferred customer genealogy report, now you're going to scroll all the way down. It happens to be the last one, number 5, preferred customer genealogy, and you're going to click yes. And now when you're running it yourself, you have the option here to run it for your whole organization. So if you have a team under you, you can run your team's, capture your team's customers as well. So if you're a leader in the company, you might want to do that as well, just to stay on top of theirs, like an overlay. If not, then don't worry about it. But by default, I just always keep personal preferred customers and downline for all countries, because I happen to have another country in there checked off. And then same as Melissa did, scroll down to the bottom, make sure your email address is in there, and then click submit. It's going to pop it into your email. Let me see if I can do that. All right. Do you see this next screen now? Give me someone tell me what you're looking at, because I can never tell. Are you looking at the customer genealogy report?
No, we're looking at a weird swirly thing.
A weird swirly thing.
Your screen is frozen.
Screen started to download, but it didn't go all the way.
Ah, nuts. Sharing is paused. Blah, 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 blah. All right, let's stop share and try it again.
I'm looking at you.
Even better. Okay, how's that?
Good.
Yay. Okay.
Yay.
This is the beginning of your customer genealogy report. So if you've looked at this before, it might look a little funky. This first page is giving you your key. It's like your key code. So I always just take this first page and just keep it handy, because you're going to need to refer back to it as you're looking through your customer information. So this top here, it tells you how your customer order is being paid. Is it being paid on a 4-month installment? Is it being paid, is it a 4-month product but being paid all at once? Is it on a 2-month installment or 3-month installment, which I don't even think is an option, so I don't know why that's there. Right here, the status, it's going to tell you the status, if it's active, canceled, a new order, a reset. So that means if you've maybe delayed somebody's order, that's going to be an R, for example. If it's I in a process change, paid, non-reoccurring. The other one the other key that's really important is D, and that's not on here, but that means declined. And that's a really important thing to be taking note of, probably the most important thing to take note of in this report. So as you scroll through, the next thing on here are the keys for the products. So every product has a different key. You don't have to memorize these, just have this first page handy as you scroll through. All right, and I'm just gonna go to one of mine, personal one here. Okay, so your page will be full with your customer orders, and these are just two of mine to give you an example. You've got the customer's name, their address, where they live, their phone number, and then you've got, again, like we said, this was a 4I, so it was 4-month installment that it's being paid. And then the date here is going to be the next date of it to ship out. So that's an important area to look at. You can see when they're going to be shipping out next. The letter right next to it. So this A means that it's active. It's an active order. This is also, this column here where you see the A or the P is where you might see a C for canceled, or an R for restart, or a D for declined, if their credit card was declined. And just to back up, so you understand, when a customer's credit card is declined, the company will try a credit card, they'll try to process it 5 times before they actually put that customer into, send them to collections. And the order gets canceled. And so we want to avoid that. So we want to be mindful of running these reports at least, if not weekly, a couple times a month, just to avoid that from happening. And in most cases, for me, in my business with my customers, when that does happen, it's typically because like they got a new credit card and they forgot that their Juice Plus is being billed on it. So it's usually nothing, not a big deal. We want to just be on top of it and give them a nice courtesy call and say, hey, I noticed your credit card was coming up declined. Did you recently get a new credit card, or did something happen with your card? I'd love to get that updated for you so we can get your order back in active status. And they're usually very happy that you picked up on it and you're taking care of it for them. And when that does happen, you get the new credit card and you call the company, you call customer support to update it. You don't just update it in your virtual office, because they need to go ahead and collect whatever balance was not collected from that defunct payment. So that I did want to mention. And that just, again, goes in part of customer care. The number right here is your product code. So that's like your ARO number. And then you see my C3, K3, that's your product code. Okay, so that's why you have that key handy. Some little tips here. Sometimes you might want to print your customer genealogy report out before doing customer care calls. Maybe you highlight who's getting ready to ship out. Maybe you call them first. You're checking for, any canceled customers or any D status. And just going back to Melissa's point on running, checking your numbers for PVC, any of your customers that have a declined credit card, if they're not taken care of, then you're, one, not getting paid on that PVC for the month, and it's going to affect your numbers. So if you are someone that's a VF or higher and you're working towards qualification, or you were close to qualification and then you're like, oh my gosh, I just fell short by a couple of points, what happened? And this has happened before. It's because someone's credit card was declined. And if it happens to be your credit card that gets declined for whatever reason, you won't get paid until you're back in active status. So that's why this report is, I'm going to stop sharing, but that's why that report is so important. And so as you're, building team 2, so if you are a VF, now's a good time to start getting comfortable running that report and even checking on your team's orders as well. So you can kind of work through it together, and maybe you do some customer care calls together, or maybe you do it with your upline. And when you're at the sales coordinator level, I think that's a great time to be overseeing and checking your team's customer genealogy report as well, because those declines and cancels do affect your numbers. And when you're working your business and you want to maintain your numbers, you want to be on top of that.
And I just want to say that it happens to everybody, you guys, because I mean, even in my season, just recently, I missed one of them on a good customer, and she called and said, okay, how quickly can we send some stuff out? And I had delayed some orders for her, but there were still 2 payments that had to get caught up. And so we had to clean that up before they would release the new product and all this other stuff. So it is really important. It is a customer care, piece of it. But I was just going to suggest, I think what might be kind of cool for us as a team is if we have one designated day of the month where we all do it. Maybe it's the 20th of every month. We all pull our report and we do it together, and everybody takes the onus like for that day to make sure that they highlight at least the people, because then you have 10 full days between then and the end of the month to get those, cards cleaned up if you have any. And that's kind of a good amount of time for people to be able to call you back and get credit card swapped and all that kind of thing. So it doesn't impact you.
On a first-time order, though, is a credit card checked before the order gets shipped out?
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is actually when somebody does installments and maybe something happens along the line.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because if their credit card doesn't go through on that first time, their product won't go out. Yeah.
Right. And when the Target issue happened, this is a good example because we're coming into that retail time again of year, when Target got targeted with it's been a long day, with the hackers that came in and went after the credit cards and all that information, it impacted so many of our customers, and sometimes people just, there's loyal customers, they just get billed every month, they don't even notice it, and all of a sudden they just don't have product. And when you ask them, people, you'll bump into them years later and they say, oh yeah, I did take Juice Plus and I don't know, just stopped coming. That's usually a reason why. So another reason to stay on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to just, again, what we always reinforce is just doing good customer cares. And, customers are really the foundation of our business. It's really like that cornerstone of our business, what keeps all of us doing what we do. And so running this report is really important and just helps in that customer care piece, and doing good customer care is important and it's so worth it. And then just thinking back to the DMO training that we've kind of been, fostering now along the way here with, that Stacy so kindly shared with us. And when we do that customer care following the model of the TRE, as she called it, like thanking them for being a loyal customer, reinforcing their decision and their habit for taking Juice Plus and being on the products, and then expanding on that as well. So if it's taking it to the next step and expanding to another product to share with them, maybe now the omegas or the shakes if they don't have shakes yet, or if they're on all the products, maybe it's expanding would be to, have a conversation about the business opportunity. So that's just another reinforcement when we're doing our customer care as well. I just love that piece. So I think, I don't know, I did write down a bunch of notes, but those are the key things. I'm just a big stickler on the whole D's, just making sure you check those reports. And because quite frankly, it just, for someone to, a customer to end up in collections just doesn't feel good. Think if you were on the receiving end, and if we could just be on top of checking those notifications and do something about it before it happens, then you're kind of like the hero.
I completely agree.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions on that or on the reporting? Pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to know about reports specifically? Are there any other things that you'd like to be able to look up or are curious about that we can kind of work into the conversation at some point?
No, everyone's like, report.
It's not a sexy topic by any means, but it is a really important piece of running your business. So.
Is there a way to save reports? Like, let's say you want to run that repeatedly, but you don't want to recreate it every time. Is there a way to save it?
Well, when you run each of those reports, it will email it to you in a PDF. So you can save that PDF file to your computer and date it. Like maybe you keep a folder if that's what you mean. So, you do have
kind of like the template of it in the virtual office.
No.
I don't know that you'd want to, Jen, because things change so often.
Yeah.
So like, let's say you ran a report today, but then you add on 3 team members next month and they all bring new customers on, it's going to change all your data. So it's kind of one of those things that it's nice to have one each month that you can reference. And sometimes like I'll print one out quarterly, but I'll run through it each month on my email and see, like Danielle said, if any D's pop up, then I'll just make a note. Okay, I've got to call this person, this person, this person, and then, you know, keep on going. But it is nice to have one printed out, especially when you get to the size. Like my customer report is 20 pages long or something crazy. You know, there's a lot of customers that we've have had. And so it's just good. It's good data to have printed so that you have access to it, you know, if they start cleaning up. They're going through a big upgrade, and we're calling it the modernization project within our virtual office. So a lot of this stuff that's why some of the things have moved around, and they will continue to do that. And they're really basically building another platform alongside it, and they're going to move us over at some point, but that's coming sooner than later. So it's just, it's important for me to have printouts of some things so that I don't lose good, important contact information mostly. But other than that, yeah.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have suggestions for the company.
Yes.
Being a former computer programmer, these reports drive me crazy.
Yes, I'm sure they do because they're archaic. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So like if I want to make suggestions about, can we add this? Can we do that? Like who would I email? Who would I contact?
I think the best thing to do would be to call into distributor support and ask that question. Who can I speak to in the IT department that makes, or on the business side that makes some of these programming decisions, because I do have that background and would love to be of assistance, and make a suggestion.
Yeah, because I, like you said, your custom report is like 20 pages long. And yes, you want to go through the whole thing at some point, but like if you're in a hurry and you want to check your D's, you want to check to see if there should be a filter there. I want to check for C's. I want to check for D's. I've noticed like on the front page of the virtual office, on the dashboard, where you go to my customers and you can actually run like the order analysis, and it only goes back 6 months worth of data, which I don't understand either. Because like sometimes I like when I want to look up a history, like I've had a customer that's delayed, and I want to go see when did they actually first order, and I can't find it because they've actually delayed more than 6 months.
Right.
So, yeah, I would just like to make some suggestions to them.
Those are good suggestions.
Really good.
Okay.
And probably best to like write it down, craft an email, and then find out who to send that to.
Yeah.
So that way, instead of getting them live and having to think through them all, you have them all on paper, and you can just say, you know what, here, I'll send you my thoughts. And yeah absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. They're always open to feedback from us. Always. I mean, it's constant. So it's really good it's just about finding the right person to get the information to. So yeah. All right. Anything else, you guys? Pretty short call tonight. Just important things to highlight. Okay, so I was saying in the beginning of the call, next week's call is going to be really fun. It's our Thanksgiving call. So we're going to get on, and I want everybody to I'll put up some ideas, but I would love everybody to come with the intent to share, even the new people, just to come and listen, because it's a really great time to get on and share gratitude for our business, for each other, for the experience, for all of it, and for what Juice Plus has done in our lives, because it's a pretty impactful product. So I hope you all have a great week. Let's keep going. It's not over yet. It's not Thanksgiving yet. And let's just throw those omegas up there. Keep those going. I'm going to do a tally tomorrow and see how we are and how many we've got so far on our goal to 100. So hope you all have a great night. Thank you for getting on.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Bye.